Hello and welcome to the Teenagers Untangled Community Hug, where we come together and look at some of the issues you've raised. Now, after a long break, here's Susie.
Woohoo!
First time on the community catch-up. I like taking a pause each week to really think about what we're doing, because I think parenting and living takes constant adjustment, and it's no bad thing to stop and reflect. All of the religions do this, and I think it's super healthy, much needed thing to do. So here we are. Right, Susie, we often do nuggets. Do you have a nugget for us?
I do. So sadly, and you said life is, ups and downs, isn't it? And stopping to reflect, that's very appropriate. The last couple of months, we've had a couple of losses, or not losses. I think that's a weird term, isn't it? You don't lose somebody.
No.
We've had a couple of deaths in our family. One of them, a pet, a very, very loved pet, totally unexpected, a dog. And the other one is my dad. And that's been really hard.
Very, very hard.
And the pet was first. We were on holiday, and everybody was absolutely gutted. Absolutely.
And
gutted.
you didn't get the chance to say goodbye?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't. And my dad, he had a stroke years ago, so we kind of had 6 bonus years with him. And I thought I'd been saying goodbye to him for years, thinking, he's kind of slowly fading in the last 6 months, really. But you don't.
You don't.
You don't.
No.
And it's really, really sad, and it's organic, and it's life and all of that. But the point of bringing that up here on this platform is the kids have been amazing. They're really sad on both of them. They're very different griefs. And they are very different in it. And I just think they've been extraordinary. They deal with it very differently. There's been a lot of crying and a lot of reflection and a lot of funny stories. And, some of them cry really easily, and it's a very sort of feels like a organic cathartic process, and some of them don't. Some of them, one gets annoyed with the dog, angry, and which is also a completely normal response. And it's just this idea of, I'm also grieving, holding that space. It's been really beautiful and really hard. And life goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, of course, that's the most important thing at the time. But I've got 2 of them who are in their final year of school. They've got, they want to go to university. They've got applications to make. They've got coursework to finish. They've got open days to go to if they want to go to these places, and life goes on. Like, nobody just stops and goes, you can have a month to get over this. So it's like life on funny turbo, but it's also slowed down in a weird way. But just sharing that, it's
I absolutely get that, because when my parents are both gone now, and I even though I had a really difficult relationship with my mother, when she finally died, it's a real loss.
It is a loss.
And it's a big change in your life. And I'm very sorry that you've been through that experience.
Rachel.
That's really tough. And I think the kids, again, we've done an episode on grief. So if you are going through any of this, then please dig out that episode. I'll put the link in the notes. But I think it's not until you actually experience it that you have a real understanding of the
100%.
impact it can have.
100%. And also the concept for the kids, that it's obviously a huge subject, and I think as a culture we're not really very good at it.
We hate it. We don't want to talk about
the subject
that.
of death, what happens, of course nobody knows, and there are lots of ideas and theories, and having those conversations with our kids, and by the way, we've got an own university open day tomorrow, but let's have it's all of it, and
life carries on while you have to go through the process
of actually what do you think happens? I don't know. But it that also passes as well. It gets less raw, and then suddenly you're like, we're back in every day.
And I think for kids, my daughter had a year group where one of the boys died by suicide, and I think that was quite a blow for them all, because it was also this sense that they're still getting up and going into school, they're still sitting their exams, and then he's not there. And I think that's really quite a hard concept for them to take on board.
Yeah, that's horrific. That is really challenging. Yeah. And I think, that's the things we've experienced are nothing like that.
Yeah, but they're all different.
They're all different.
Yes.
And I think the idea of shock and it being a sort of an organic thing is very different experience. So when our dog died, it was shocking. We didn't expect it. She was really young. When my dad died, it was not unexpected. It happened really quickly, and that was quite shocking. But there's a sort of sense afterwards of, okay, life is meant to do that.
Yeah.
That's a very different experience.
Yeah. The circle of life.
Cycle of life, yeah.
But for me, I would like to talk about my daughter finally going to university.
Woo.
Yeah, woo woo. And, I've seen my older bonus daughters going off and going through that with them, but from afar, really, not the same. And it made me I didn't think I was going to be quite so wistful leading up to it. And I did feel a bit kind of, and I didn't expect that, because I'm quite pragmatic. I'm quite a doer, and I get on with things. And so I totally understand how parents feel when they wave their child off, when they're leaving. And it's very interesting, because there have been an awful lot of debates on social media about the parents who stay there, decorate the kids' rooms, the ones who keep going back every weekend and changing their bed linen for them, and people going, oh God, this is ridiculous. And I find it fascinating, because as we were taking my daughter, the car was absolutely full. Literally, we had flowers, we had all the plants and things. We had loads of stuff. And it reminded me of when I went to university, and I basically went on a train, and then the London Underground, and then another train, carrying a very large suitcase with no wheels, because they didn't have wheels at that time, and a 75-litre backpack with my entire possessions in it. And then I used to have to ask other people's parents to take stuff home for me. I'd separate it up and say, could you please take this home for me? Because it didn't occur to me that anybody would actually take their kids to university. It just wasn't in my narrative. And I don't think my parents were just, we had our issues, and I don't think they were the best parents, but I think we have to put these things into context, and it was a different era. And my parents were really from the boomer generation. My mother actually went through the war. She was, I think, 6 when the war started, and she was evacuated, and these people were very fuss and nonsense. It's a saying in England. It's just like, you just get on with it. And then the next generation, so my friends' parents were kind of 60s, 70s parents who were all about going out and having fun. And I just think, quite often I see a narrative of people blaming their parents for things and being frustrated that they were brought up in a certain way. I was very much a latchkey kid, and parents now trying to break the cycle. And I think there's a difference between real neglect and parents not caring, which I experienced some of, and a generational thing.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Don't you? And I just think that I worry that there's an element of kids nowadays looking at parents and judging parents through a lens where parents are doing everything. Some parents are doing everything. And then them thinking, oh, my parents don't match up and they're not good enough. Or the parents thinking, I need to be doing everything. When really, actually, it's good for kids to have to sort of fend for themselves to an extent. That you don't have to do all of this at all.
No, it's really interesting. I think that's a really interesting concept, because you have to judge it within the context it is, don't you? Like I actually had this conversation with my mum a couple of days ago, because I am doing a few university open days and I have twins, obviously.
Which didn't exist when we were
Which didn't
going
exist.
To university.
No. And, and it's quite a lot, because obviously I'm on my own with them, and there are twins. Normally it's one kid and 2 parents. So we can't go to them all, and then that's also fine. But she was sort of implying that, people we didn't have that in those days, and people just dropped off and and she's right. I think an over fussiness is not helpful. It makes, we know that, we've talked about that before. It makes them not independent. They need to feel that, I'm on my own, before you can pull your own confidence out of the bag, can't you?
Yes,
that's how you get confidence, is getting through that stuff. But it's also really different. Like, universities, we pay for them now, and so
it's completely different model.
Different. So of course, it's really reasonable for parents to want to go and see the place that they're forking tons out for, or that the kids, they're going to need extra money for. I mean, it's totally different. I remember I went to music college, and I had to do an audition, which you still have to do, and I went up to Manchester, and it was big old train ride. I slept on my friend's floor the night before, who I knew in the year above. I think we went to the bar, got up, did my audition, dragged myself to the train station, got home, how did it go? Oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
It was totally different. And we can't judge it in the same time zone. Like it's just different.
Yeah. And I think we just need to give ourselves a pat on the back if our kids are even doing okay.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And if you have feel a need to go and, help your kid out, maybe that's really nice for that kid for the first couple of weeks. Maybe they need that support and then you back off. Like, we're so judgy, aren't we?
We are judgy. And I've said to my daughter, anytime it gets too much, because it's really full on where she is, really, really full on, I just said, just come home. And she's like, I haven't got time to come home. So yeah, it's really, and also if you're telling yourself, I need to make sure my child's learnt how to cook, that may not be the key skill they need. It may be that actually what they need is they need to know how to go out and make friends with people from different areas. So that's the thing I focused on. It's like, how do you make sure you just don't just stick with the group you first meet, that you actually learn how to actually meet lots of different people from different areas and go and join the social groups and ensure that you just feel like you belong there, because belonging and mattering is, I think, what really matters, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it's really
congratulations to her. That's exciting.
I think it's hard work.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it definitely is.
That's what she wants.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go on to talking about a letter. Email. They're not letters anymore, are they? That's ridiculous.
No. Nobody does that.
Nobody does that. First of all, I'd like to say how awesome your podcast is. Wow, I can't believe I'm just discovering it. I sure could have used it 4 years ago, probably. I've listened to about 15 episodes so far. Well done. But that's good in itself, right? So enlightening. My son is 15 years old, creeping up to 16. The struggle has been real. I've already incorporated some of the things I've learnt from your show, and to my surprise, I have seen light at the end of the tunnel. Whoop, whoop. Thank you so much. I've still got lots to learn. So, questions. How do I get my son to do the dishes correctly?
Oh.
And if he doesn't, what would be a good example of discipline without it being overkill? Susie's face.
Gosh.
I have gone over with him on how to do them correctly and what I expect. It has been a 4-year battle with him, grounding him, taking electronics away and so on. He doesn't seem to care.
Wow.
He's very monotone with me about 90% of the time, as if he can't stand me.
Gosh.
Should we just deal with that first thing?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Does she mean that he's not doing them at all, or that there's like bits of food left on them afterwards?
I don't know. She didn't make it clear.
Oh.
We have actually done an episode on rules and consequences. So it's actually we don't have all that information. So it's almost impossible for anyone to give one person full advice without really understanding their family situation, because as we've said before, it's a haggle. Yeah. Everything's a haggle. Yeah. And so the most important thing, I think, is to give you the information, and you need to listen to the information and then make decisions based on your own values and what works for you.
Exactly, yeah.
So we have got an episode on boundaries. Yeah. I've written a quite extensive blog on what is going on when boundaries and consequences don't work. Yeah. And it's very tightly related to, this is what your expectation is, but you've both agreed that this is a reasonable thing to expect. And then there's a consequence that's very short, and that they can earn their thing back very quickly after that. So that right at the very start of it needs to be that you both agreed that this is an important thing. So the question is, why? Why is this important to you? Why is this important to your son?
Yeah. Because we have, like we've discussed about, I totally agree with that. There are lots of options every single day, aren't they, to enforce or to suggest or to, to inspire, if you want to do that way. And it's what really matters. Pick your battles. If it's really important, if the dishes are really important, then, and you're willing to die on a hill for it, then an agreement needs to be made. And, and he doesn't sound like he's on board at all.
Doesn't sound
but if that is really important, then that needs to be understood. Or maybe it isn't so important, and then, pick a different battle. It has to be tied to like you said, it has to be tied to what really is important. Die on a hill for that one.
Yes, exactly. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I know I fall into these traps at times where you want to do the best with your child. You want your child to have good manners. You want them to know how to do things competently. And that's slightly different from, it is quite different from being on their back. And I think it's really important if you listen to all the experts, and again, there are lots of episodes that cover these things, that we acknowledge the things they're doing well.
Yeah.
And we spend much less time looking at anything they're doing wrong, because the skills they're having to learn, along with having to learn how to socialize, mentalize, understand that other people are feeling and thinking things, they're having to do all this work at school. It's actually really, really complicated when you're a teenager trying to juggle everything. If what they get from us all the time is picking out little things that we think are important, but they don't think are important, the takeaway will be, they don't like me. My parent doesn't like me.
Or they don't get me.
They don't get me. They don't like me. They don't love me. They will infer from that all sorts of things that maybe you don't mean to project. And there was a brilliant judge that I cited in my blog about this, and she deals with a lot of really difficult people. And she said the reason she does well in the role that she has is because she starts with respect for whatever it is they've done. She starts off treating them with respect and saying, I'd like to hear your side of things. I'd like to understand where you're coming from. Yeah. And I think that really, really helps with our teens as well.
So in any discussion, you can ask your teen, I notice, I've asked you to do that and you're not doing it. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you not? Why is that not important to you? And have a discuss. No, that makes sense. Okay, well, then maybe we can change those rules because it's maybe not so important. Or, well, actually, I hear you. Yeah. I hear that it's not important to you, and it's really important to me, and I really want you to do this. You don't have to agree with me, but actually, this is really important to me. I'd really like you on board on this. And then go from there.
So also Dr. David Yeager in his book 10 to 25 talks about the fMRI scans they've been doing on teenagers. And I love the way he talks about it, because he says what happens is they've actually done experiments where the child has lain in a scanner, and they've got the mother to say things to the child like, what I don't like about you, or what I don't like about what you're doing, or any of the nagging things that we will come out with. And they watch what happens to the brain. And the amygdala lights up like a Christmas tree. So this is the kind of fight or flight angry bit, the chimp.
Fear bit.
And the prefrontal cortex, which is where all the planning and like, you're making a really good point there, dead.
Dies, of course.
Nothing's going on there. So when we're trying to we're trying to say, by the way, you haven't, it's gone. They've switched off. They're not even listening. Yeah. So it does.
Gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Work. Yes, I love that point. Yeah. And I also think there's an interesting thing about dealing with boys that comes from that episode as well. And actually, I think it goes for all teenagers, but they become absolutely focused on status and respect from the age of 10 on. And understanding that status and respect is the most important thing to them means that if you then treat them so that they feel that you think they have status and respect within your family unit, will play into what they want and need. And what I felt, I actually asked them about this, which was in experiments they've done where they had, they tested testosterone on these people before, boys and girls. Yeah. And what they did was they put more testosterone in to kids who had lower testosterone and watch what happened. And the increase in testosterone made them more compliant when they were treated with status and respect.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, I've got two boys. That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? So actually, it's the opposite of what a lot of people think in terms of narratives of boys, that they are, the testosterone makes them more feisty and whatever. Yeah. No, if you actually lean into that, you can get so much more out of them. And not in a kind of, we're not talking about trying to get stuff out of them. We're talking about communication and connection.
Giving them the respect they deserve as human beings.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to chores, I really like to talk to my kids in terms of being in a team. Very, very much focused on that language now. And I've only learned that as I've gone along. And so I always say, this is what we've done. What are you doing for the team? And I give them the chance to choose. And I have come up with the most amazing thing recently. Absolute genius. Got ChatGPT, and I fed into it every single thing I do routinely in the house that could be done by anybody else and is part of running the house. And I said to ChatGPT, you need to create a PDF of this with a space next to every single one of these tasks where people can write their name.
Oh, wow.
And then a box where you can tick it.
Amazing.
And then at the top, I'm writing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I put it out.
Wow.
And then the great thing about it is I've showed it to everyone in the house and I said, so fill in what you do.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be shamed by not having their name on the list.
Okay.
So actually, everybody is stepping up.
Wow.
Because number one, it makes tasks visible that weren't visible before.
Yeah.
Because I think often people they just don't notice.
No,
Stuff's going on around them.
They notice when it's not done, but they don't notice
Correct,
when they do.
exactly. So number one, it actually shows these are the things that go on around you all the time. What can you do? And also it gives them a chance to choose. So my bonus daughter's living with us at the moment. She's been amazing. She's been walking the dogs every day. She's been emptying the dishwashers and
Perfect.
right. So but it means that they know what I've done. Then is I've handed the opportunity over to them.
Yeah.
And then I can say to them, "Oh, that's great,
Yeah.
fantastic work for the team. Thanks.
Yeah.
Not
Amazing.
thank
I
you
love
for
that.
helping me.
No, but no, that's important, isn't it?
Yes.
Actually, my youngest boy a while back said, Mum, I think I should do more chores around the house. And I was like,
No.
yeah, I actually nearly fell over. What? Well, I mean, you would have to do some would be good, yeah. But he's like, I don't think I do enough. And I went,
Oh,
okay.
love.
I mean, he's
that.
got loads of ideas. I mean, I love him to pieces, and he's got loads of brilliant ideas. The actual doing is sort of step 2, isn't it? So later that day, he was lying we have this broken sofa in the kitchen. He was lying on his phone while I was making dinner, and I went, well, "How about now?" And he went, Yeah, maybe later.
See, that's the thing, because they want to be able to do it in their time. And again, that's why it really works if you have the sheet out, because you can. And I've said to them also, and even my younger daughter has come on board with this, where I just say, if you can do it in 5 minutes, just do it.
Yes, yeah, that's.
And so when they walk
beautiful.
past a sheet, which is out there, very visible,
yes,
they can see and they can go, oh, actually, I'll just do that.
Yeah,
because that,
and then I can put it on the list.
I can put it on the list, right?
Yeah.
So it's great.
Oh, I love
Some of
that.
them-
I might steal that.
I like, well, no, please steal it. And
Yeah.
I'll do an Instagram or something
Yeah.
about it. I'll put it on my Substack.
Yes.
Have a look at the Substack. I'll put it up on there.
ChatGPT is brilliant for that.
Yes.
It's
Well, it
brilliant.
is, because also you can say, make it a PDF and then
Yeah.
it will make you something that you can print off
You can use it.
and keep printing off. And then you can add things after if you think, oh, I didn't add that.
Yeah. Perfect.
So just coming back to what this listener said. So she said, he's very monotone with me about 90% of the time as if he can't stand me, which is really tragic. And I think many of us have taken wrong turns at times in our parenting. And repair, and you've talked about this before about apologizing, repair is always an option.
Yes.
It's always an option. And I think if we just sit them down and say, you know what, I really wanted to do the best for you. And I have learned that actually that's not doing the best for you. And maybe it doesn't feel very nice. How does that feel?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Or just mirroring it back. I find this really, really hard that we don't speak properly. And I kind of imagine that I've said some stuff that has either hurt you or annoyed you, or can we talk about it? Because all kids want to get on with their parents.
They really do.
They really do.
really do.
They just don't know how. So us as the adults, we can kind of show the way. Sorry, what have I done to piss you off, kind of thing? Can we mend this?
And we need to sit there and listen and not interrupt. If they're saying something and it's very painful, because sometimes it's very painful, we just have to sit there and say, okay, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's not my intention at all.
Yeah, or even, wow, that's a lot of information. Can I just have a think about that and get back to you?
Yeah, I love that too. I think that's really helpful. So she says, when it comes to school and his friends, he doesn't want to be near me when there's an event going on. I think he's embarrassed. I'm not going to say why, because I don't want to identify the parent. Other boys his age will walk into the school next to their parents, but mine won't.
Yeah.
And there are other parents like me in the community. And their teen sons don't seem to be bothered by it. But I think
that's hard, isn't it?
I think this is coming back to, I think this is a parent who absolutely loves their son and is
100%.
trying to do the best and is just not getting that connection right.
Yeah. And then it becomes the push-pull dynamic that we've talked about lots of times, doesn't it? The more we pull or push, the more the other one goes the other way because it's too much. So it's kind of backing off a bit and seeing what happens in the space behind and talking about it. Like, I can see what's happening here isn't working, and you don't want to walk with me, and you have to respect that, don't you? You can't just run after them and go, no, help me.
No.
But I find it painful, and I find I'd really like it to be different. What would it take for it to be different? What's the problem? Why, just unpack it together in, like you say, a really non-judgmental way, and be willing to hear maybe some stuff you don't want to hear, and see how that can be integrated. But it's painful. It's hard because we don't. But if we remember that the kid doesn't want it to be like that either. And
they absolutely
And this
don't.
mother sounds like she, like you said, adores her kid, and it's painful.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because I'm going to interview one of the authors of a book called Talk to Your Boys. It's brilliant. It's got all these chapters where it gives you cues of things that you can talk about. And I love that. I think it's really important. And with this parent, I think one thing they could do is listen to some of the episodes about what it feels like for a teenage boy. And I think 14 probably is where Niobe Way talks about the man box hitting them hard, and this sense that they have to fit in, and there are so many pressures on them. And I mean, she's a different sex to this child, so that's going to impact on their relationship unless you can reach in and understand him better. Yeah. So one thing she could do, if she listens to some of the episodes, and I'll put the links in. There's Brendan Kwiatkowski, there's Mike Nicholson, quite a few of these, and just say, I've been listening to this thing. I'm just wondering, is that something you're seeing?
A great idea to use it as a conversation starter.
Have you heard of Luxmaxing? Is that something you're doing at school? Is it, just so that he then thinks, wow, she's actually tuning into my world. It's not all about what matters to her.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice, I think. And sometimes I think for our kids, it's a really tiny thing that is annoying them or they're finding challenging.
Oh, you're so right.
It could just be like, oh, you talk too loudly, or I don't like your shoes, or it's embarrassing. Something is awkward, and then they're just so busy trying to avoid that they kind of move away from you completely. It could be something really simple.
Yeah, it was my parents' car actually. Oh my goodness, we had the most awful car. It actually was rusting and it was falling apart. And when I had to be dropped off in it, I would just pretend there was something on the floor I had to pick up.
Yeah. And that's crazy to us, isn't it? But for a teenager, that's like a important thing.
Yeah. And coming back to what you said about how kids really, really want things to go well. Yeah, they do. I spent a week on a yoga camp recently with a senior state lawyer from America, and she works in child services. And she told me that even kids who are being severely abused by their parents still want to go back to their parents.
100%, yeah.
Because it feels normal and safe to them. They may hate it, but they just want where they are to feel good.
Yeah.
And we can do that.
Yeah.
So again, don't feel you can't turn it around.
No, they want it. And that is such an important point. I mean, even children who are being abused, they still love their parents. They
still love their parents and want their approval and their love. And one thing I would suggest might be helpful for you is to have a journal and write down all the things that you like about him for yourself, not for him. Write them down to remind yourself of when you do notice those things, because you will have noticed things. You think, oh, that's quite clever, or that's quite good, or what. Have them at the top of your mind, and just when you see them, just say, "Oh, you know what I like? I like you did that," or like, and just mention things that will make him feel like you're noticing him and you have been thinking about him and that he matters.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And those things can be so powerful.
Yeah,
and I do it regularly with my daughters, and I try to mention things. I don't do it in a kind of, heavy-handed way, but I'll notice something and say, by the way, did you realise that that's actually a superpower of yours? Or that's something that...
And they kind of glow a bit,
they
don't they?
Glow, right? And even if they're just going, in a bad mood or something, they still go, wow.
Yeah. My youngest boy goes, I'll say something really nice, and then he'll go, well, keep going, more.
and just try and do something at least, like, I love you every day. Yeah. I never go to bed without saying I love you.
No.
And then we sort of feel like, okay,
they go, I know.
I know. I said, my old surname used to be Walton, and there was a program. I'm sure the Americans all know about that. Well, I came to England having never watched TV, and the kids, when I came to England, used to skip around behind me in the playground singing the theme tune to the Waltons and going, good night, Ma, good night, Pa, good night, Mary Ellen, good night, Jim Bob. And I just thought, these English people are very odd.
Weird.
I had no idea why. But now I do that to my kids, and they're like, oh, Mom.
Yeah, no, we do it. Night, love you, night, go, turn your lights out.
And one last thing, we've been trying to deal with sort of sleep, haven't we? Because I think none of us prioritises it enough, including me. And I kind of wanted a reminder of why it's so important, because it keeps coming up whenever I talk to experts. I take away my daughter's devices and I'm quite rigid about it, but it's easier for it to slip.
Yes.
When it's not school night, for example, and we're having a nice time.
Yes.
Right? Or I'm tired and she says, oh, just another 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And and it's a negotiation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you finding that?
Oh, totally. I have one in particular who we've had this discussion for months about phones, and nothing's really worked because he's been resisting me actually doing the deed. And now we have restrictions on it, the same that I have. So we're kind of doing it together.
Yeah, that's how I worked.
Because I'm rubbish at it as well. And he's trying it out, and there's now some feedback because I said we'll try it out for a few weeks and then we'll discuss it. Like, this is supposed to be to help you. I'm not like the big bad rule maker here. Like, you're old enough and ugly enough to be very much part of this, and you need to be a part of it. And he got to the point where he understood that actually he needed it, so was willing to go along with it. And now there's a thing that doesn't work. Like, he's missing out on the social chats because there's restrictions on it, and the chats, they come randomly, don't they? And then there's like a big funny banter, and he loves all of that stuff. He's very sociable, and he's funny, and he's quick, and he's missing out. And he fed that back to me and said, I'm missing out, that bit's not working. Like, and so I said, oh, well, let me have a think and we'll discuss it. Like we're going to discuss it tonight and try and work out. And
I love that, because you do say, let me have a think.
Yeah, I can't answer this right now. And I said, I've got a couple of ideas, but they sounded a bit naff. So we went, let me have a think about it, because I hear you. Like, I hear that I'm not going to just take them off because it's uncomfortable and you're missing out on chats. That would be daft. And I hear that is a problem. Like, but the intention isn't to that you miss out on stuff. That's also daft. So I hear you, and how can we find a solution? And we'll try a new thing out. And if that doesn't work, we'll discuss again. So it's an ongoing process until we find something that really works. And he's like, okay, Mum, that's fine. And then I said to him, do you find that it is making a difference? And he said, yeah. It's really helpful in that he can get more work done, because he's got ADHD and is time blind. And the phone is just such a distraction. And his sleep is improving. I think there's a big room for improvement on that one. But it's the how you do it, isn't it? It's the discussion behind it. How do we work this out together? And actually, at the end of the day, I am still your mother, and I have got to the point with him where I go, I'm actually paying for your phone, and I feel sometimes I'm paying for an addiction,
a distraction,
and I'm no longer willing to. That is so uncomfortable for me. I'm no longer willing to go along with that.
I love that. I think,
that is my boundary. I will die on a hill for that.
And I wanted you to talk about that, because I think that one of the issues about giving your teenager social media, say at 16, is that you've only got a very short window to navigate this, making sure that they understand how important it is to moderate your behavior and your use of it. And I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right. I'm just saying it's really important, because I gave my kids phones when they were 13.
Yeah, me too. Mine had a dad in a foreign country. They needed a phone.
Yes. And I think, it's a massive debate, and we're not going to go into it right now, but I just wanted people to understand that, these are some of the things we have to have conversations about, and actually helping them, inching forward. So you say, let's try this. What's your feedback?
Yes.
And them knowing that you're not just going to suddenly make a unilateral decision, but that you do hold the power. You are the parent.
Yeah. And
it's very important.
It's so hard though. And like following, it's one of probably my biggest regret of parenting is not doing it earlier. And for my eldest, like the ship has sailed.
Yeah.
And I wish I had. And I fed that back to them. I've said, I really wish I'd done that earlier, and they get it. But it's having you, like, we have a lot of good conversations around it with the particular child that I'm trying to help with at the moment, and he agrees with it all. But it's the follow through.
Yeah,
it's so hard.
Really So one thing I wanted to mention was my older teenager said, "Oh, I'd like one of these brick things," and they're being advertised everywhere. And I looked at them.
Really expensive.
Correct. And so the way I work is I always research things and look for other alternatives. And I found out that on open source, so open source is platforms where people who like developing software and things, they borrow each other's code and then they create their own code about things. And there's a guy who's created something called Foqos on that. It's an app, it's free.
Right.
And they don't
collect. I've seen that.
Have you seen that? It's FOQOS, I think.
Oh no, I haven't seen that one. No.
Yeah. And so it's free.
Yeah.
All right. It's not collecting your data and things like that, not like some of these other apps. And all you need to make it work is an NFC.
Oh.
And that's one of these, you can buy NFC cards or I've got tokens, and you can buy them like a pack of four would be $5.99 on Amazon. All right. And that's it.
And what do you do?
That's your cost. So what you do is you go on the Foqos app and you say when you want to have your child focusing, and you program it in, and then they have to tap on the NFC and you hold on to the NFC.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
That sounds brilliant.
Yes, it's brilliant. And what I've been doing is I've been trying it out myself because I didn't want to introduce my child to something where it just didn't work or I got it wrong. And then she was like, it doesn't work. And actually, I think it's amazing. And it's funny because to start with, I was having my focus time during the evening. And then I discovered that, and then I thought actually the most effective time for me is from 8:30 until 1. I just don't want any social media, anything distracting me because that's when I work best.
Yes.
And it's funny because it does annoy me.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
So what do you do with it? Because
I use it for myself. I just restrict it. No, I just have it. I just have it there. But it does annoy me. But at the same time, I think this is really good. The fact it's annoying me shows me that I'm actually not controlling myself
You're
properly.
having an urge. Yeah.
So, and I think try it out on yourself first. And then once you understand how it works and what the irritations are, then you can be compassionate with your child and say, I know it's annoying, but you know what? Yeah. Look how much work I get done.
Yeah. And that is the whole thing of being like addicted is a tricky word, but it is an addiction, isn't it? And it's noticing the urges and that would be what you're noticing. It's like it's not the actual doing, it's the need to do, isn't it? Why are you picking up the phone?
And you can choose which things you block. You can choose. So if it's just one particular thing that you have a bit of a problem with, block that. Yeah. Or you can choose different times. Wow. I think it's a really good app for free.
That's amazing. I'm going to buy that.
I like it.
As soon as we finished.
Yes. Well, just there's the app and then the NFCs.
And then the NFC.
Yeah, and I think they're actually really good.
Because it sounds more flexible than the time thing, which works really well. But if you've got like a morning and you need to get stuff done, then
And then you know that there's a limit to how long you're going to be blocked.
Yeah.
And you just go, you know what? I chose this. It's a good idea. Yeah. Right? And we have to learn these things to help our kids.
Yes.
So in my Substack about handing devices to your children, I start with quite a long preamble about why it's important we understand our own behaviour first. Yeah. You cannot get your kids to do things that you're not prepared to do yourself.
No.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. And also they don't take it seriously.
They don't take it seriously. Yeah.
Put my phone down as you're on your phone. It's the classic, isn't it? Yeah. Stop shouting.
Absolutely. Right. Well, that's all we have time for this week.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see you again, Susie. I've been missing you.
Oh, I miss doing these. Miss chatting.
Right. If you found this useful, please send it to somebody that might benefit. And if you like the podcast, please give it a review. Just even 5 stars on the podcast apps. Very, very, very welcome. My Substack is teenagersuntangled.substack.com. Susie, where do we find you?
You can find me at my website, which is www.amindful-life.co.uk.
When you're not here, what are you doing?
Oh, lots of stuff. I'm doing different things. I've been doing some corporate stuff, which I love doing, like some webinars. I did one for. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. Probably I'm allowed to say. Battersea Dogs and Her Cats Home, which everyone I told went, oh, you're doing it for the dogs, aren't you? No, they don't need it.
It wasn't actually the dogs.
No, stuff like that, which I love doing. And I'm doing some music and I'm doing some stuff. It's good.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, if you want to get in contact with her, you know where to find her. And my website is www.teenagersuntangled.com. Have a great week.
Yeah. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.